Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Chair.
Damas.
Good morning, colleagues.
Morning,
Morning.
I was trying to count to see whether we've got a quorum. So far, we've got just one shot, but I'd like that Shirin should also. Hi, Honorable Labus Kachne, at least you're not shy to show your face.
Good morning.
Good morning. Could we show everybody's face? It looks like we've only got 5 members. There are others that I don't recognize. Please just make sure we've got members and people who are supposed to be here. Honorable Van Sale, good morning.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everyone.
Morning. Is everybody too shy to show themselves? Honorable Ndamase.
Morning, Chair. All the best for the new year in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mteto, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and fellow members. Glad to be here.
Don't switch yourself off. I want to see if we're all here. Just
Chair.
keep it. Hi.
Good morning. I don't know. I switched my video on, but I got no picture, man.
Oh, I see.
I got no picture. I don't know what I need to do. I need to take this machine into these people. But Chair, there's a guy here that I think he doesn't belong here.
Who is he?
Is that guy in Damasi?
Oh, okay. You can sort that out in a bilateral. I'm fine with him.
Good morning, Minister.
Morning. Who's talking?
Sorry, I'm saying Minister Chairperson. It's Dr. Mukwena, Minister's advisor. So I can leave the meeting, Chairperson, if I should not be in this meeting.
Oh, I see. You, the advisor. No,
Yes.
don't you worry. For today, we will not have a problem. But you can stay if you want. But we don't have an obligation for you to be here. We won't be dealing with departments issues. But you're free to stay on. At least we know who you are. That's okay. I think we should start, honorable members. At this point.
Chair also.
Yeah. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chair, and
Welcome.
everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think we've got the quorum now. We should proceed. May I request that we all observe a moment of silent prayer and meditation? Thank you. I'd like us to start the meeting at this point. I declare the meeting open, and I'd like us to firstly just to wish you everything of the best for the new year, and I hope you did enjoy your festive season and all your holidays, and that your families are fine. We are up to a very active year, and I hope that we have recharged ourselves to be ready for the long run. And so we have noted as well that there are a number of new members. We will deal with that issue when we get to the agenda item. So may I request that Sherin, you can show us the agenda? Now, my request, colleagues, is that we've got a number of items, but just as a guide, a number of those items are just for noting. The issue of the main issue we want to focus on is the program of the committee. But then we'll just have some comment on the oversight visit to Gauteng. We won't be able to deal with the full report. We just want to probably just comment on it and pass. And then the rest of the issues shouldn't be too long. My request is that we should really try and close by 1. We have some time constraints after 1, and so it's going to disrupt our meeting if we don't finish. We will deal with the apologies in a moment, but I'd like you to look at the agenda. And can we get a support for the adoption of the agenda? Any mover?
Damase moves.
Damase moves. Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will second, but I want to caution that we cannot get documents the day of a meeting. That report of Johannesburg is quite, well, the whole of Gauteng oversight visit is quite a lengthy one. And for us as members of parliament to actually do due diligence on those documents, we can never receive documents in the same day as we have a meeting again. Thank you.
I agree with you. I have raised that with the secretary. And that's why I've made a comment that we won't be able to deal with, thoroughly with the Gauteng visit. But I only brought it up now because I did say to Honorable Van Zyl that we might want to deal with some of the aspects of the issues that are coming from there. We'll reschedule it for later discussion, but let's have a look at it because we had not really gone through that report and had it thoroughly dealt with. So that was really out of respect for the discussion we had on this matter. Thank you very much. So the agenda is adopted. I'd like us to go to the item 2, which is constituting the committee. Shirin, please put that up. I think, Shirin, you should try and open up that letter.
Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Yes,
Morning.
the membership for the committee. On the 14th of November, Honorable
Shirin, are you able to put the document itself?
must I, the ITC chairperson to show the discharge of members. Let me just
That's right. Yes, yes, you've got it attached. I just want to see it over there. All the members have it. Whilst you're trying to do that, let me just go through it myself. Honorable members, you will see that on the attached document, and I hope that Shirin will open it whilst on the screen. Your membership, I'm sorry. Your membership is as follows. From the African National Congress, we've got Mkhize, Direko, Ndamase, Sompa, Masiu. From the Democratic Alliance, we've got Lapus Kachne, Van Zyl, and Mabena alternative. Then from Controversies, we've got Zetim Tetwa, Taibosh, Gwabaza alternative, and Ready alternative. From the Patriotic Alliance, we've got S. Van Wyk, and we note here that Koika Sols is no longer in the committee. And then Economic Freedom Fighters, we've got Mrs. Mkalipi. Inkatha Freedom Party, we've got Zat Buteles Inkosi. Now, these are how the members are structured at this point. Let me take the opportunity to welcome all the new members, even those who are not here yet, but who are part of the committee of now. And I'd like us just to make sure that they're all included in our study group contact list so that we don't miss them. And we want to welcome the members to say feel free to participate as much as you would in this committee. The members who are gone, we want to thank them for all this, the work they've done and all the hard work they put onto the committee. They had lots of passion, but we know that there's always continuous redeployment of members, and that's the situation at this point. Now, I have a number of apologies, which I just want to indicate. Firstly, we've got the apology from Honorable Mkalipi. She's
Chair?
on flight. Yes?
I'm still a member of this committee.
You told me you are on flight.
Yeah, but when you read the names, you didn't read mine. I'm here. I'm boarding now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read your name. I saw your name, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay. But very soon I'll be going.
No, yes. So you have an apology to leave this meeting and take a flight. And then Honorable Reddy also is in another meeting, so will not be able to join us. I assume the other members will be joining us soon. But my apology for not mentioning your name. You're still very much part of this committee. So this is really all I wanted to do. I wanted just to appraise us of the membership of this committee as we stand, and also to indicate the apologies. Can we move to the next item? The next item is a correspondence from the minister and a letter of apology. Please show that letter, but the main reason why I thought we must see the letter is because the minister, we have always invited minister to be present on specific committee meetings, and he then has looked at our schedule and picked up a number of dates during which he will not be able to attend, and therefore puts his apologies up front. I thought it was important for members to see that, so that we must acknowledge those apologies from the minister. I believe on the 11th, the minister will be available, but the subsequent meetings, he will not be available. I would like to say to the members that I think there's not much we can do about that other than, where necessary, we might request members to have meetings outside the normal slots of the committee if we have to get the minister. He has offered that he can look at other times other than the ones that are on schedule. So I would like us to see a situation where we go for a long time without the minister, and we kind of feel that maybe there's a reason why he hasn't pitched, when in fact it's a real clash of the programs. If there's any other comment on that, we can proceed. Can we see the letter? And any other comments from the members who wish to comment on this aspect? All right. I think we note that apology that the minister has indicated the number of dates during which he will not be able to attend. So on those dates, we'll always note the minister's apology. But I would like the members to feel free to indicate that when we have a challenge we might need to sit with the minister in person or in a meeting, then we will then seek an alternative date. I welcome the other members who have just come in. I see Honorable Direko, you are in. There's someone who's just got iPhone 2. I'm very reluctant to point at someone who is not showing either on this on the video or the real name, because I'm not sure he's the right person to be in this meeting.
Sorry, Chair. I suspect that is me. I've been trying to put my name there. It's Buthelezi. I think that's me there, but I'm trying to actually have myself identified.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Welcome, Shenge. I had not seen you. Oh, now your gadget is showing you. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. As I suppose the best of the new year is still in order in February because we haven't met. I just wanted to ask, Chair, with regards to the minister, I know that in other committees, because of a request was made that when the minister cannot make it, we cannot go less than 2 ranks down. Really, that was a specific request which was made in one of the other committees. So much as one understands the constraints of the minister, I just think that maybe you don't want to get a deputy, and well, you can get a deputy minister. But what was happening in that committee in particular, I'm not saying it to be the case here, was that then you were getting some two. So we ended up making a requirement that either a minister or a deputy, especially on pressing matters. I don't know whether we can make that proviso as well here, much as we accept the minister's letter.
Yes, thank you very much, Shenge. It's a normal practice in the committee that even if the minister can't make it, then the deputy or deputies may come and present. And sometimes DG might suffice. It depends on the nature of the meeting. But seeing that the minister took the effort to record the specific dates where there are clashes, I thought we need to table the matter. We will still anticipate that when the minister can't make it, there will be either the deputies or the DG, depending on the matter. My point was more to say that when we see the minister frequently absenting himself, it will not be because there is a neglect of the committee. It will be because it is an issue that he has got a standing apology, and that there will still be alternative arrangements for senior leadership to be present at the committee level. So that your point is still taken. It's correct. Thank you.
I'm with you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let's move from that issue to the next issue. Let's look at the agenda. Our next issue is the letter from the Auditor General. Again, this letter has been tabled for us to have a sight of the request from the Auditor General's office. I'd like to bring the attention of the committee to this letter and say that the aspect that the AG has requested us to focus on is the item on if you look at the letter, the Auditor General would like us to partner on something specific, and that is one, to monitor and look at the progress made. It's item 1 on the body of the letter. Progress made in developing and implementing root audit outcomes and achievement of targets. 2, its initiative to strengthen collaboration and intensifying planning in areas of professional implementation of MSIPs. And thirdly, recovery of the financial losses on the material irregularities and follow-up on consequence management relating to irregular expenditure through in-year reporting and oversight processes. Then at the bottom, the Auditor General would like the chairperson to sign on the commitments and agree to those commitments. Now, this would be on behalf of the committee, as the Auditor General would like to schedule a structured interactive process with the committee. So I'd like the members to comment on this and whether we agree that we will sign on to this or if there's any amendments that are envisaged. Honorable members, your comments?
Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, I didn't read this document thoroughly. If we can just scroll up to the commitments on looking at this, I think that is, if we really want to improve local government and the outcomes of local government, I think we should agree to this. But I would say, yes, let us sign this, but let us also make sure that we know exactly what it is that we have to do, because we cannot randomly at one stage decide, okay, we're going to look at A, B, C, and D. That means that these agreements or these points that has been raised by the AG, we will have to find all the findings in the reports on these things, on the various municipalities, and have to sort of a grid or something and work systematically through it. So I would suggest, if we decide as a committee to sign it, which I am supporting, that we have this as a standing agenda point and have to deal with it on a regular basis. And it should become part of our program that we haven't discussed yet. And that is my input on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Pansel?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will agree with the proposal by Honourable Labuskaghni.
Honourable Direko?
Greetings, colleagues. Thank you, Chair. I think I've not went through this letter properly, but I believe that if it's something that goes with playing oversight by the committee, and if it's something that is also permissible as members of parliament to do, we can do it. I don't see any problem with that, as long as we are within the.
Okay, Honorable Direko, I see your system is failing a bit, but you are saying it's correct. If it's within the scope of the parliamentary processes, we should go ahead with it. Honorable Taiposh?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I just want to support the previous speakers that I think it's a good thing that we support this.
Honorable Mtetwa?
Greetings, Chair. I would say that it's a standard procedure, the prerequisites of the Auditor General, but I think an emphasis must be put that compliance and practical applications of the prescripts of Auditor General and PFMA or municipal finance, they find expression at local government level. So which means whilst we commit ourselves, we will also, as a portfolio committee, strengthen oversight on local government to see to it that they do these things so that we don't commit ultra various on things that are not even taking place in our domain. But otherwise, in principle, we understand.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Telezi. Honorable Telezi, you're having a trouble with your gadget.
Can you hear me now, Chair?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I was just saying, Chair, that I also concur, and of course, what has just been said by Honorable Mutata, of course, will always be overarching that whenever the committee feels that there's a strengthening needed, although there's a standard procedure, we will do that. But really, I'm just raising my hand in concurrence that maybe there is enough concurrence as far as this is concerned. I'm not trying to do your job, but from my side, I'm happy with it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Telezi. We will then go ahead and sign this. What I might ask Shireen is to arrange for an official from the AG's office that at one time they can come and just brief us on the expectations out of this whole thing, even before we have to sit down with the Auditor General to implement this. So we will have this document signed on behalf of the committee, but also noting all the comments made, and then we will ask some official from the AG's office just to do the briefing, just to make sure we all align together in terms of what the expectations are, and also just to make sure that everything is aligned with our mandate as a Parliamentary Portfolio Committee. Thank you very much. We shall proceed to the next item. The next item is the study tour. Members have been wanting to talk about this study tour. Now, in the package, there are two documents there. There are two documents here. One gives you the motivation for the tour. The next one is about some information in the preparation that we should just need to take into account what the processes, the arrangements would be. So I'd like you to focus on that one on arrangements, Shireen. The one that's a motivation, it's a narrative that explains why we're going there. Members may comment on it as well. I just want to show this so that we can see what is possible and what timelines are possible, and then members can comment on the whole document. Can you find that document?
Jay, can you see the document? Because it's shared from my side.
We can't see it on the spot, on the program.
It's not opened. It's just a list of the documents, Chair and Shireen. The document is not open.
Yes, it's not open. But members, try and follow on your side and see whether you can see it, because it's really more about the members seeing what the scheduling process will involve. This is really, again, more for information. Okay, colleagues, these are the steps that are going to be necessary to deal with this issue. And just walk through it quickly, Shireen.
Thank you, Chairperson. Firstly, we need to identify the dates that the committee wants to undertake the oversight. I looked at the dates on the parliamentary program that I also shared with members. There is a constituency period from 30 June until 1 August. We thought we might look at a period in those days because then members won't be, apart from having constituency, there won't be other meetings where members would have to be at other committees. So we're looking at that date. The thing is, we need to also identify for how long are we going. I know in the past it was the number of days was 10 days maximum. So we need to know for how long we are going. And then for the communication, because it takes so long, we have to communicate with DIRCO. DIRCO then communicates with the embassy to find out if they can accommodate the committee. So it takes about 3 to 5 weeks for that confirmation to be done. And then once we have confirmation, we can then start with the political and funding applications. And because we're doing an international study tour, the process takes a bit longer than when we do our normal oversight visits, when we do it here in the provinces. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. I don't think we can change any of this. I just thought it's important for members to know where we are and what sort of times are we likely to see this visit taking place. And from that point of view, I'd like to see if members want to make any comment. To be honest, I just thought that you need to know where we are, not that there's anything new to discuss on this matter. However, I leave this open for the members to comment. Honorable Labuschagne.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for sharing this with us. I think we are not any further than we have been 2 months ago, except that the motivation is finalized, because this framework that's here, that is the framework for all and every portfolio committee. So what I think from experience, and I think you are more experienced than me in all these things, but I've always only been a member of a committee going overseas. I also know that part of the motivation should be a plan of a cost analysis, what it would be, how many members, and what are the kind of things that we said these are the things that we want to explore, but sort of where do we want to explore them? How many meetings do we think we should have? Because those are the things that DIRCO will have to negotiate with the country or our guests on the other side. Then the last thing, I am not going to be very popular, but I feel very strongly that our constituency time is for us to spend with our families. I am sure that all other committees are going in oversight weeks and in between, because yes, as far as I know, we will not be allowed to go longer than 10 days. And that's normally sort of a week, and a week, travel on the weekend before, spend the 7 days or the working days on the study tour and come back the next weekend. So if, say, for instance, this constituency time will coincide with the session from October to July, that will be the end of their season, and it will be in July. So if you are looking at that in itself, it says that we would either ask them to accommodate us in their time of recess, because their time of recess is end of July. So that's the end of it, or either in August when we start, and then this is not in itself, just looking at those 2 dates, it's not a good match. So I think we should look at another time. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let's note those comments, but let's be firm on the exact day, on the month, and then we'll ask that there should be the details of meetings that we're going to be hosting, and so that there's costing. Shireen, you want to comment on that?
Yes, Chair. The exact budget and things that doesn't go to DIRCO, that gets dealt with by the Office of the Speaker and the Secretary to Parliament, so that we will do once we have confirmation, so that we can get all what the whole trip is going to cost us. We will look at the date. I see there's in a committee oversight period from the 23rd to the 27th of June. That we can also maybe explore. But the last time that we wanted to go, as the previous committee, they said they don't accept any visitors when it is their recess period. So between July and September, they don't really accommodate committees. That's why I wanted us to look at the dates when they in their session. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any other comments, Honorable Mteto?
Yes, thanks, Chair. I would like us also, when we go there, please touch base with the kingdom in Denmark, because I know they've got a strong interest in KwaZulu-Natal, Zulu Kingdom. And so it would be good to interact with them, just to also learn how are they interfacing with their government system, because in South Africa we have a dilemma, like Khosi Siyakhlulo yesterday cited that the local government would sometimes sideline the interest and the work togetherness of the kings, so which is a South African scenario. It would be interesting to learn that from the Denmark side. How are they coping with the municipal system and governance? If there is anything we can actually learn from there, as included in a program, so that we don't just go to municipalities and the parties only, but the kingdom activities must be involved as well.
We note that. Any other comments? Any other comments to the members? Okay, could you then ask, okay, let's ask Shireen to try and finalize the issue in terms of the specific details, so that we don't overshoot the timeline. Not all what the members have said. Obviously, very little movement at this point. Please mute, members. So we should say at this point that those comments should be noted, that the details must be factored in, and that with a budget, then there must be proper submission to the committee, and also the details must be about how this whole thing will be numbers of meetings, the specific areas or towns that we want to visit, and the specific entities or structures that we want to visit. Honorable Labus Kachne?
Chair, I just want to know, did this committee, the previous committee in the previous term, did a study tour in the previous term? Is there some of the people, of the members that has been there that that can, yeah, that's all I want to know.
Okay, we probably got 2 members who were present in the previous committee. I think, so if they would like to comment, they're free to do so. The other issue we need to sort out is whether how many members of the committee should go. Let's probably just have a sense of number. Do you want the whole committee to go? Do you want a certain delegation size to go? What is your proposal? Any other comments? Direko, you were in this committee. Mkalipi, I think she would have gone out now.
Chair, the previous committee did not go on the study tour. What happened is that by the time we were doing application, it was already late. They were preparing for elections, so we could not go. And then on the number of delegation, I think the office of the speaker has a proportion that they use for the international tours, international trips, where they will determine whether it's all members of the committee or it's a certain number that will go on the international tour.
As far as you recall, were the specific cities or that were identified? I think looking at the structure of the government there, it might be useful to just go to meet people who are in the executive and then those who are in the legislature, and then maybe one municipality to get a sense of how things are at the local level. If we have had those 3 meetings, that should give you a sense of the executive, the legislature, and the local government, because from the structure of the municipality or of the government, it's mainly national and then strong districts or strong local government with not much of a focus on provinces. But I think for purposes of what we are looking for, you could approach it from seeing one municipality executive, maybe a minister who's in charge of local government, that would be enough, or that department, and then of course the speaker's office would give us a team that would talk to the delegation. Then that should cover it, and then we leave to the speaker to determine the number of the delegation that will go there. If it's proportional, it obviously means so many per party, whatever, but we can use that guidance. Can we proceed from there, Honorable Telezi? Honorable Telezi, are you still on?
Sorry, Chair. I was saying we have covered me, Chair, because I was going to ask what criteria is used, because we represent different parties. But now you've just said that is at the discretion, if I understood you, of the speaker. Because I was just wondering, how do you actually say we will decide how many are going? Because unless then we say whoever goes represent the whole committee. But I think maybe you have dealt with that when you say the speaker determines who goes.
I'm muted, I see. Thank you very much, Honorable Telezi. I think we have covered the issue sufficiently. Let's ask the Secretary to take the matters forward and give us an update every couple of weeks so that we know where things are. but that's already, I see Honorable Van Zyl was suggesting that we should apply for full membership, and then we wait for the speaker to amend. That's what we agree on. So that's fine. Let's proceed then. Let's move to the next item. Shirin?
Chairperson, so next on the agenda is the program of the committee.
Yes, I was talking, I didn't realize I was muted. So this is what we have here, colleagues. Some of these things are brought in just to factor. Next week, we should look at the initiation report, and then look at the adoption of this oversight report meeting. Now, there will also be briefing by the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. A matter that comes up later, but which I wish needs to be considered. Okay, let me finish this so I can come back to this agenda for next week. So you'll have all those sittings. No, that's fine. Let's proceed. Move up. And then the 14th to 16th, there's a workshop by Minister on Khoisan matters. I'd like to give you a short briefing of this matter. I should have done it before. Maybe can I ask for indulgence before we start this? Can I ask that we take the additional documents that I submitted, so that I can brief you on this meeting with the Khoisan leaders, because then we are able to, it has an impact on next week's program. It's a new thing that's come up now. At least you hear it, and then you can decide how to proceed with the rest of the program. The rest of the issues there are basically just scheduled matters. I think what's for discussion mostly would be how we handle next week and how we handle the ministers' Khoisan meeting. The rest of the other issues, other than the visit to the Free State, then we should not have much of issues here to raise. So I want to suggest that whilst we are on this issue, I can take you quickly through the report of the meeting which was held with the minister and the Khoisan leaders. Can I ask Shirin to go on, just bring that document up, and then I will go through it quickly, and then we'll come back to the program. In the documents that you have received, there are, in the document, there's a document I sent later, oh, that's the one. This is not an official report. These are just the notes I did as we were going through the meeting. And the meeting was held between the minister and the members of this portfolio committee, as well as National Council, National Cohesion Council. You will notice that the members were present from the committee was myself, Tay Bosch, Mtetwa, Van Veek, I can't recall who else was there. And then there were House of Traditional Leaders, Minister, Deputy Ministers, DG and DTA officials. And whilst in that meeting, about 13 members, 13, 14 members walked in, were not invited, but they just wanted to attend the meeting as members of the public. And then the minister then indicated that the basis of this meeting was portfolio committee requested that there should be this discussion. And so it was hosted in that regard. The presentation from the Khoisan Council, led by Le Fleur, was basically about their concerns of the utterances and attacks and accusations, and whether they were recognized by the department and all of those kinds of issues. They didn't go into details of what the NKC does, when it was brought up, when it was formed, and all of that. Then the presentation from our members, which was done by Honorable Taiposh, again focused largely on the operations of the NKC, mainly that it was felt not to be representative, and that there were certain, it had not been successful or had no impact in dealing with joblessness, landlessness, and that it needed to be re-elected and refresh its mandates. And there were questions about the use, distribution of the biodiversity rooibos funds, and that they were recognizing working with tribes that had not been well established, and there were no HEMs. So these were the main issues. And then in the discussion, I won't go through everything. The one gentleman who responded to the issue was the Deputy Chairperson Peterson, who indicated that the biodiversity project was based on a trust which was focused on 4 groups: the Griqua, the Korana, the Nama, the Cape Khoi, and the San. And these are the people who are supposed to benefit from the biodiversity fund, and that those details are available if they are needed. So it was actually felt that between ourselves and the Khoisan Council, a lot of information needs to be exchanged so that we can share, information and clarify certain misunderstandings, and that if there was any irregularity, it needs to be reported properly, either to the minister or to the police as such. Then in the process, my observation was that there were 3 groups of issues, of which one, there was a disagreement. On the other one, on the other 2, there was no disagreement. And the issues, if you move up from the summary of issues, one is that one of the main issues, there's a big question about the representative forum and the operations of the NKC. It's been there for a long time, for almost 24 years, but others were questioning legitimacy, which is a matter of whether the government recognizes them, whether they've actually been consulting and in touch with the grassroots that is supporting them, that is supposed to be represented by them. How do they run the trusts, and how do they deal with the biodiversity fund and their beneficiaries, and all of these issues. They also were concerned about, they have never met with the portfolio committee, with the president and with the minister. And so they also didn't have budget. These issues really were, everyone agrees that there has to be a representative structure, and that is legitimate. There's got government support and budget. But there are other issues here that need to be clarified with more information about how they run the trust and how they run the funds and all of that. They argue that they're not running any of the funds. So this issue needs a discussion so that they must share as much of the information, because we all felt that everyone on this Khoisan matter must be on the one side. The smaller issues of how the committee is run, how the structure is, can be resolved without really raising too much of the tensions amongst the community. The second issue is about recognition of the Ko and the San community. This is the major issue that the Ko and San community need to be protected in terms of constitutional rights, statutory provision, and then the recognition of the traditional Khoisan communities, which does not exist anywhere. And on that basis, it is important that the bill, for example, the amendment of the you're moving the wrong way. We're still on item 2, please. Yeah. Right. So the issues of what are the structures, what are the main community groups? You've already got 5 and mentioned there, to agree that those are the core structure of the Khoisan community. And what about the kingships in there? And what about the various structures that need to be then recognized as traditional communities? And that this is an area that needs to be dealt with quite thoroughly. There's an issue of the Khoisan Commission processes that must resolve dynamics where there's contestation as to who's the right house, who's not the right house. Then the amendment of the TKLA is an issue that we must ensure, one, that the right people are consulted on time. So we need to agree who are those right people. And secondly, we need to also agree on the structure of this Khoisan leadership that needs to be factored in the legislation. So those issues, there might be differences of opinion. However, we need all of the Khoisan people to tell us one thing on that matter. So it's generally a uniting discussion, even though there might be a debate here and there. The third issue is the groups of rights which the Khoisan committee feel need to be given attention. The issue of human rights, there's an issue around the constitutional recognition of the Khoisan people. And then the others about land, about minerals, rights and agriculture, cultural, language identity, biodiversity and indigenous knowledge issues, poverty, joblessness, and political interference, and all of this. These issues mean that we need various departments to participate in the discussion to provide solutions. And so, again, you need the Khoisan community to be on one side, and the government must be able to address them from different departments' point of view. Because of these issues, 1, 2, 3, we felt that it might be useful to actually have the meeting of the Khoisan Council and the Portfolio Committee next week before we go to the conference, so that we can reduce areas of disagreements, where we can also help the meeting to focus. Others were actually saying it should be seen as in the light of a convention for the Khoisan recognition and the rights of the Khoisan people at that level. So because of all of this, we have the minister having the workshop coming on the 14th. Now, what would have been good is to actually host a meeting with us and this committee. Now, if you look at our program next week, the feeling was that we should have a meeting in person. Now, the meeting on Tuesday is likely to be overloaded, but if we were to accommodate this on Tuesday, we would then need to split the agenda so that the other part of the agenda can move to a different part, maybe on Friday or maybe the following week. The second issue we need to determine is who amongst our committee now, as a portfolio committee, who must be a delegation that goes to that meeting. So those were the issues that we needed to factor in. With that in mind, I'd like us now to go back to the program so that we can see what is possible. So now members are free to comment now that I've given you the background. Honorable Taiposh and Mtetwa were there. If they would like to make any comments, we won't go too much into the details of the issue, but it's to guide this committee to see how we can handle next week in preparation for the meeting on the starting point of our engagement was more like some of the members of our portfolio committee and the members of the NKC, we were like the main opposing groups, as it were. But as I've summarized now, when we analyze the issues, that's how we've kind of ultimately concluded them. So it's important that because we are a formal parliamentary committee, we should have at least had space to engage with this community. If there was time, we would have engaged other groups as well, but we can still continue afterwards. But for now, the idea is to see whether it's possible to meet them, clear some of the issues, and then move on so that this committee has got a broad approach on this matter that is really beyond individual views and individual personal experiences of this subject. So, honorable members, let's take your comments.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, if I may.
Yes, Honorable Taiposh.
Thank you very much. I think what just I don't want to go too much into the history of the whole thing, but I think for the committee to know is that this council has been there for 24 years. Most of the communities, Khoisan communities, does not recognize them, okay? They've been there for 24 years, and all they have done is produced a bill which is very controversial, which does not take care and look at things like land and stuff for the Khoisan San. So they've done a very sloppy job, and they were told so, of what they were supposed to do. All they were doing was flying up and down and staying in five-star hotels. Really, that's what we... So the community doesn't want them. Now that government is taking the Khoisan San serious in terms of recognition, the communities feel that we need to get them, we either need to beef up the membership and put people there that are competent, people that, you know, that will be able to negotiate better deals, and people that will negotiate with the view on the communities and not on themselves. These are, for instance, the people that negotiated 15% for themselves and 1.5% for the community. There are only 21 members, and the community is millions. So everybody is very unhappy with the National Khoisan San Council. The only people that really entertain them is Kokta, and I still, up to today, I don't know why. Because if you put them out there in the street, the communities will basically stone them, because they are the reason why the Khoisan San, they've been busy with negotiations on behalf of the Khoisan San since, I think it was 1997. They were formed 1997. They've been busy with, and really they have produced nothing. They have achieved nothing that I can say. And they believe that this bill, which nobody accepts this bill. We all reject it outrightly. So I think the meeting coming up on the 14th to the 16th, we want to give the minister, we want to make it easier for Kokta and for the minister, so that we are able, at that meeting, that conference, that 3-day conference of between from 14 to 16, that we are able to elect a all-encompassing representative body to now negotiate with government on behalf of the Khoisan San. So that's why we want to meet with these people, to see exactly what they are, and to, you know, point it out to them that, you know, and we said so in the meeting, and they couldn't answer us. They sat there and, you know, they had no answers for us. because they know they failed dismally. They know that they did not, fulfill. They didn't deliver at all. So we would like to have this meeting with them on the on with the committee, because they thought this thing that I was questioning them was a personal thing, and I said to them, no, I'm here as a member of COCTA, and we're here as oversight, and we have got the right to question you. If if you represent the Khoi and the San, and you are a body that is being used by government to do that. So, in a nutshell, what we want to do is ultimately get rid of every one of them, all right, and elect a new body, a more representative body that will be taking care of the Khoi and San negotiations and consultations with government, or between the 14th and the 16th. And we'd like to just submit a list of names. That's why we've asked to meet with them, so that we can see whose names are they putting forward for this, and we see if we can incorporate some of those people to be elected on the conference weekend. I think that's it, Chair. Really, that's the crux of it for that weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look, you're going to have a slight challenge in the approach that you have just been proposing now. We were in this meeting. Firstly, you have issues that you have raised, and some of them they responded. For example, the issue of the Biodiversity Trust. They've given us, I've sent to the group, and I asked the members to download this document, because it talks about this whole issue of the Rooibos Trust, and I'm not sure how much money is there. However, in relation to that structure, it's not more for this committee to start picking up the names of people that must serve. It would be up to the community out there. So we now have to separate issues quite a bit, because your role as part of the Khoisan community, in relation to your interest in who gets into the committee, is not something that this committee can deal with. But what we can deal with is to raise the issue of the need to refresh their mandate, which then there's no opposition to that. And the minister, even NKC, has acknowledged that there'll be a need for that. Issue of the proper recognition by COCTA, that again, there's been agreed that needs to be done on both sides. So your disagreement with what they've been doing and all of that is a subject of a debate that can go on to a meeting. But this committee can only talk about what we can source on concrete information in terms of how our role of oversight will be. So the first thing for us would be to get them to brief us what they are doing, and therefore then we can raise the question that we want to raise. So mostly for the briefing, we need that meeting. But once you start getting into the details as to who are the people that must be incorporated, who must structure it, we won't be the ones who structure that.
No.
Not even COCTA can do the structuring. However, in that meeting, then there can be an agreement on what the best structure would be. So that goes for the meeting. So I'm just wanting to separate. Let me ask Honorable Van Zyl.
Sorry, Chair, just before you go further, just on that document that you gave me yesterday, remember the one that you asked for a second copy, the one that you say is on Google? I wanted to pay specific attention to page 90 and 90, what is this, 91? No, 93. Page 92 and 93. Just in terms of the 15%, which they again denied yesterday, but in the previous meeting, they said that the minister said that they did inform him about the 15%. And it's captured in this book that you gave me yesterday, the 15% as well.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm saying those issues, we can question them as a committee, but it needs to go to that committee for discussion, for that conference.
No, thanks. What I wanted us to handle this thing, as these people, when we do our oversight, whatever our people picks up and whatever our people wants to question, they must question. We want to treat this as a normal. When we went to City of Joburg, we questioned everybody on everything. So there must be nobody must be spared here. We need to highlight issues and they need to answer.
Yes, but we can't say to them, we're going to replace you.
No. We question them. We don't say them. We question them. We say, look, we've noticed this. Can you explain to us, what did you do with us and how do you handle these things?
Okay. Honorable Van Zyl and then Mthethwa and then Gqabaza in that order.
Thank you, Chairperson. You have covered me mostly, but I do want to say that it's very clear that there has been neglect with the Khoisan community, and also that there's a lot of irregularities with the NKC, etc., not having an AGM for 24 years. It's actually unheard of. But I do think, Chairperson, I agree with you that we have processes and protocols to follow. And I think we must start at the beginning. How do you eat an elephant piece by piece? So we need to start at the beginning to be able to fix. And I think this committee now is on the right track. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mthethwa.
Yes, thanks, Chair. I just want to also echo the sentiments of the Deputy Minister Masimula when he said that let the meeting of the 14th till the 16th not be a community complaining kind of a meeting, but let it be a historic convention where for the first time in 30 years, since Madiba's time, that we are paying attention to the Khoi and the San community, their plight, especially their recognition, where in this department for the first time, they will have a legitimate engagement with them, a recognition structure. Automatically, the NKC issue will fall off once we get into the convention because the meeting will then constitute what would be their representative body, which the government will eventually acknowledge and recognize. And from there, it will formalize them and their status, their recognition, their jurisdiction, their economic participation, their mainstreaming into the entire South African ecosystem. And so this must be one of the achievements in 30 years of democracy that we can look at. So we must make sure that we position this meeting on the 14th as a historic one.
Thank you, Honorable Gqabaza.
Thank you so much, Chair and honorable members. Chair, I would like to propose that because the NKC is not a statutory body, it's an NPO that they are using by themselves. So I propose in this committee that COGTA establish an agency, Khoi and San Development Agency, that will really deal with the matters of Khoi and San, because there are a number of things, the land, the joblessness, everything that is there that becomes issues. So it should be something that the state takes seriously rather than taking an organization and supporting an organization that is outside of government. We need, as a committee, to have an insight where to make sure that the body that is established is a body that we can oversee and make sure that everything that is happening in that body it is in line with government and constitution and everything. So thank you so much, Chair. I think it was just that was important to me that this body must be an agency that comes from COGTA, and we are able to have a look at it and make sure that it is established properly. Obviously, there is a board there, there's a CEO, there's what, and people can be nominated in that board, and the minister can deal with that. But it must be a body that is within us, and we are able to make sure that the development is really happening on the Khoi and San people. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gwabaza. That obviously is something that must go into a discussion. What sort of representation, what sort of structure, what sort of entity? We can pick that up later, but we note your comments. Honorable Teles and then Honorable Mapena.
Thank you. Thank you, Kabazela. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say, Chair, that I think that it's actually it gives some hope because the one thing I've noted since I've been in this committee has been Honorable Taibosh always saying that this body, in any case, is not representative, is not legitimate. And I think that whether we like it or not, although it's a question to be resolved in-house in terms of the Khoisan and Kokta, but it was putting, I think, to me, the committee in a bit of a pickle because you need to deal with something that has a clear formation. So I really think that I'm just rising to say, Chair, that I sincerely hope that it will at least be beginning of the journey to make sure that it's a unified body that we can also engage with, because even terms of engagement become very difficult in a situation like this one. So although they say one swallow doesn't make a summer, but I hope that this workshop will start putting us on more of a firmer ground in terms of this. It was really a concern to me that it was making a bit awkward, if nothing else, for the committee, although we are not the ones to turn it around. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Teles. Honorable Mapena.
No, thank you very much, President Tozokul. I think what I wanted maybe to check was with regards to the NKC, because I understand that there is a convention that is being scheduled. But then if we're saying that you want, obviously, the objective is to elect a broader scope of representativeness within the Khoi and San people, because also within that nation, there is quite a lot of differentiation as well. But obviously want it to be as more representative as possible. But then is the focus only just on the NKC itself? Because I understand that that is some sort of a corporate structure which is there. But my understanding is that the actual bigger fight is about the Khoisan being recognized as a traditional community, because currently there's no recognition that is there in terms of legislation. But now if the focus is only just on the NKC, and I understand that it is a body that government sort of recognizes that they work with, is it not going to perhaps might make it a bit difficult for the work to actually move with speed in terms of recognition of traditional community and with leadership and with structure? Because I'm just worried that if there's much more emphasis on NKC only, then therefore it might just slow down the other real issues which are there. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, just to give you a sense, Honorable Mapena, you have two things here. On the one side, you've got a group of people who are called a council, who would claim they represent the Khoisan people. They have been the only structure that was dealing with these matters for a long time, and as we have said from Honorable Taibosh, 24 years. However, the community has got a lot more concerns about how effective this has been. But there are groups of Khoisan people, and I've given in the list earlier that you've got 5 stems that they are looking at. And that the Grekwa, you've got the Korana, then you've got the Cape Khoi, they've got the San, you've got the Nama. Now, those 5 groups seems they are largely representative of anybody who might be Khoi or San in South Africa. And because of that, we then need to be understanding that anything that has to do with the Khoi and the San people has to be linked to those stems. There are obviously other dynamics inside there as to how many kingships are there, who are the right people, and so on. We're not going to that discussion because even with the other communities, we had the same problem where we had to get a commission to sort that out. So for purposes of what we need now is that we need a platform that will be able to carry the sentiments of the different stems, and then of course people in different provinces and different conditions, so that they are able to broadly represent the discussions around the Khoisan descent. Not a big group, but a group that will be broadly able to stay in touch with the various sentiments, the sentiments of the various communities. So that's the distinction here. Now, there is no disagreement, even with the NKC, that whether that NKC stands or not, you need a structure that is representative of the stems of the various communities that exist. So with that, it's a matter that will be dealt with a kind of in-house, as Honorable Tellers is saying, arrangement. So we will need to get to that point. What Honorable Taiposh is talking about is that the performance of the current incumbents on this structure has not been satisfactory. Now, that's an issue that the members of the communities can raise with them. But as a committee, all we need is to insist on legitimacy, representativity, and regularity of refreshing of the mandate of that structure. However, that can be done. So we're not the executive in this matter. We are largely supportive and oversight and accountability, focusing on accountability. So the ministry and the department has to deal with the nitty-gritties of how we can formulate this convention or conference, and then also make proposals of how this structure must be then made so that it becomes representative, and how to refresh the necessary mandate, and how we deal with the issues of budgeting and accountability and all of that. Those issues are going to be models that would need to be explored at the kind of conference. But from our point of view, we need to know what the committee, what the NKC has been doing. They will share with us to what extent has government been putting funds in it, and to what extent has it been effective in representing the people, and to what extent we make suggestions to see how it can be more effective and also be more accountable. So that's really more our focus on this matter. But then I think, having said that, I want to suggest that we go back to the program of the committee, because now we know what is involved here. My question was to the committee, and Shirin, whilst you're sharing the program, let me just continue to say the problem was next week we have a program that did not include this meeting. But we think that the meeting needs to be done next week. Just drop it down a little bit, so that the question then is, we have to make a choice on, hold it there. No. I just want us to look at the Tuesday. We're doing the initiation committee report, which should probably take us not less than 1.5 hours, some even 2. Then we were putting the Gauteng report. I want to suggest that instead of putting that report, we put in the meeting with the Khoisan. Then if we put the committee report, it could be third, so that what then happens is that we can do the 2. If we run short of time, then we will then stand over this item on the Gauteng for the next meeting, because this can be done even on a virtual meeting. So if we do a meeting with the initiation report, and then we're meeting with the NKC, and then the Gauteng, then that way we can stop the meeting when we think we're running out of time whilst we're dealing with the Gauteng matter, because it's got a lot of issues with it. So that would, for me, be the proposal for next week. What do the members feel? Do we have support for that?
Supported, Chair. Supported, Chair.
Thank you, Direko. So then, look, we can either have the briefing by departments and then push over the Gauteng report to later. And then with the NKC, we can even control the meeting to be even an hour, and then we can deal with the briefing by department. And then the Gauteng report might come last, which would be the fourth item. And if it doesn't work, we stand it over. Can we arrange it like that? All right.
Yes, Chair.
Thank
Yes, Chair.
you.
I'm happy with that, Chair.
Thank
Are you
you.
happy?
Anything else on the program that you would like to raise?
Chairperson, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yes, Chairperson, thank you very much. Members, as you can see, we have, sorry, Chair, Mr. Mapena's hand is raised before I go ahead.
Okay, Honorable Mapena.
Well, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think there's going to be an initiation season which will be affecting Mpumalanga and Gauteng and a bit of Northwest. But the full details an announcement will be made on the 1st of March. I'm not sure if maybe we can accommodate that in the program post the 1st of March, once all the details are there, so that maybe we can ask the key stakeholders and those that are involved in that. Maybe perhaps we can invite them to brief the committee in terms of their preparedness for that initiation season, so that perhaps we avoid the situation where we react after the fact, but we can just maybe quiz them and assess their level of readiness. And also, given the fact that we're having these challenges of PEPFAR pulling part of the funding, because right to care that is also involved there is an NGO, is an NPO, which also receives some funding from PEPFAR and others. So that we can assess in terms of what is their readiness given the risk of them losing that funding. And if also indeed there is truth that that funding might be pulled, what sort of government intervention is government ready to fill in the gaps? I understand that the president made it very clear to say that the funding from PEPFAR it's only 17% of the HIV/AIDS program in South Africa, but to a large extent, the initiation season also is a beneficiary of that. But I'm not sure if that can be done. But if the consideration is taken, I would plead that it be made after the 1st of March, because it would be another thing to quiz those involved before the official announcement is made. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, let's consider that briefing, which would have to be sometime in mid-March. It will be after probably around 11th of March, somewhere there. So let's just note that as something that can be factored into the program. Honorable Mteto.
Yes, Chair. I would like to check if are we supposed to be silent on the matter between the Zulu King and the Minister of Land Affairs on that part, but given the fact that it is intertwined, here we have a king who have an issue with the issue of land, but since our jurisdiction is representing the kings, are we just okay to keep quiet because the matter is just about Ingonyama Trust in conflict with the Minister of Land Affairs? I felt we should say something, even if it is not direct, but it's either we must indicate, are we supporting the Zulu King in a stance, if we are not, what are we saying about that? Because it touches a king. Whether the matter is on land, but now let's take the component of a king being involved in this case, and it does implicate our committee. And then on the issue of PEPFAR, because it's also affecting the initiation program, which is taking place amongst Amakosi. I heard the Minister of Mineral Resources saying we must evoke the issue of minerals that are moving to the US. If that does come to pass, that the funding is withdrawn, since most of these minerals are taking place in the land of the kings, we must also see what intervention we can make. If US is penalizing South Africa through their funding, we must also have a punitive measure in terms of their mineral interests, which the kings are custodians indirectly. Therefore, we can have a beneficiation program which will empower the kings benefiting from those minerals, if they are no longer going to US, according to Minister of Minerals and Energy. Thank you.
Yes, those matters are rather complex, not directly within the jurisdiction of the committee as such. But secondly, we should not enter into the fray on a matter on which we haven't got direct responsibility or even direct briefing. However, as a matter of interest of the committee, we could then invite the Minister of Land Affairs to brief us on the issues that relates to the issues around the king of the Zulu people. And therefore, we can request that briefing. I don't think you can comment publicly on that matter without such a briefing, because it's not a direct it's not a direct line function of our oversight and line of accountability. The one on PEPFAR, again, I think we should get the briefing brought to us, and then we will, in the context of the briefing and the involvement of PEPFAR in the initiation processes, then ask more details about the PEPFAR. What we would need to do is to ask for the minister to be specifically requested to include the PEPFAR angle insofar as it would affect the initiation processes. If we do it that way, then we can bring them up into our meeting with that kind of caveat. In the preparation, then I think that secretary should prepare for these matters to be placed on the agenda, and then we're going to ask the specific ministers to come and do a briefing for us, and the relevant committees to come and also give us briefings on that matter. If we do it like that, then we'll be in a position to deal with the issues without having to kind of cross to what other committees are supposed to do. The issue of the minerals and traditional leadership and all of that, it may not be that easy to deal with the issue in the way the Honorable Mthethwa is saying, in the sense that, again, it has to be a matter that gets tabled to us from one angle or another. If it's a mineral issue, most of the minerals do involve people who are in traditional leadership areas, and those people, the issue is being handled with that understanding by the Department of Mineral Resources. So I think we would need to clarify our role a bit more on that matter. Let me then take the Honorable Mapena and then Honorable Nkosi Buthelezi.
Thanks, yeah, but I think Nkosi Buthelezi was before me, but nonetheless, I can speak.
If he was before you, then I didn't notice that. Then you just acknowledged it, so we'll change the order. Honorable
Yes.
Ngozi.
Oh, thank you, Honorable Chair Kabazela. Thank you, Honorable Mapena. Chair, I just wanted to find out, because we're touching on these matters, to say, I think if I recall, we just touched over, a high level on the matter of the oversight visit to the Eastern Cape, especially in the aftermath of what happened. I was just wondering whether there could be an opportunity for us to get an in-depth feedback, especially on just what happens after that, because I think with regards to the other initiations that are coming, I'm glad that it's being put on the program, also again in the aftermath of the Eastern Cape, because you will recall this committee that we're given a comprehensive presentation of how the zero deaths were going to be dealt with and to make sure that we attain them. But of course, now I think we know that the rest is history in terms of what transpired afterwards. So I just think that that was my first question, Chair, to say when can that be? And then secondly, I was just thinking that in terms of, I know that I'm aware that I'm sure we all are aware that the minister has had a couple of summits on the kings and queens. I think that it is within, it should be in line of sight of this committee, what happens there. And I think we should be indulged with a briefing there, because definitely it is within the ambit of this committee. Those were the two things, Chair, I would like to have some clarity on, or the rather how the committee feels about it. Ngiyathokoza.
Thank you very much. Shireen, can you drop down the program a little bit? So it shows the 4th next week. No, it shows the 11th next week. There you are, Honorable Buthelezi. The first report is on the Provincial Initiating Committee, Coordination Committee. It's on the initiation report that you're asking about. It will be the first item next week. So we'll have an in-depth report on the matter.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. The second issue, we're going to ask the secretary just to remind us so that we can include the matter of the meeting with the kings and the issues raised there for the minister to brief us on those issues. That then is fine. We will put that on the agenda. It will be reported to us. Honorable Mapena.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think, what I wanted to raise was slightly what Inkosi Buthelezi raised with regards to the Kings and Queens Forum, but I had a different sort of perspective that I wanted to bring to say that the department did constitute the Kings Forum and subsequently the Queens Forum. I wanted to check that wouldn't it be maybe good for us to invite the Kings Forum in the main to brief the committee in terms of their line of work, what is it in line with the terms of reference that they published and the pledge that they signed, in terms of what is it that they plan to do. Do they have a plan of action? If they do have a plan of action, is it funded? Is it not funded? What is it that they're hoping to achieve? Because noting that the King's Forum is also not a statutory body. It is sort of a coordinating committee of some sort. Maybe we can invite, because just maybe the invitation of the chairperson and the deputy chairperson of that King's Forum to come to the committee to give us comprehensive briefing and appraise us. And obviously the department would also be there so that we can make sure that the initiative that the department has started, it's one that will be effective, successful, but also give the committee some sort of oversight over that, understanding that, yes, it's not a statutory body, but if it is an effective coordinating committee, therefore, it must be within the purview and oversight of the portfolio committee. But it's just a suggestion, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, you've just noticed that we'll ask the minister to brief us on the meeting with the kings and the queens. That suggestion should be held in abeyance until that meeting. Then we can take it as a next step from there, but we won't be able to do that before we've got a briefing of the minister on the meeting of the kings and the queens. So thank you very much for that. Honorable Tellez, I assume that's a legacy hand. You can drop it when you find a way. Then we move to the next issue. Honorable Tellez? Okay, thank you. We need to then move to the next issue, colleagues. Let's deal with the rest of the report of the program. I think we've taken adequate comments on this. The issue that might need attention is the one on the visit on Mangaung, on Free State Municipality, seeing that there's also an invitation for the opening of the House of Traditional Leaders on the 25th. So where the visit was aimed to be is there's also an invitation. So we have to suggest one of two things, that we go to the oversight visit and send some members to come and attend on the 25th and come back to join the rest of the committee, or we completely excuse them so that they are not part of the visit. They attend the opening, because it's 24 and then the House is meeting on the 25th. There's an invitation attached in the correspondence. Let me hear your opinions on that one. But that's a visit to the oversight oversight visit to the Free State. If you'd like to make any additional comments on that, any comments?
Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
Are the whole committee invited? All of us invited to the opening of the National House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders.
To be honest,
specific members.
I can't be sure now. Did anybody receive invitation? Shireen, is it only for the chairperson or for everyone?
Chairperson, the invitation was sent to you, but it also said that the chairperson must invite members of the committee to attend the opening. So it's open for the entire committee.
That's what I would have expected. So that's the issue. You want to make a proposal, Honorable Typos?
No. It's just, it's, both these things are important for me, but I would also like to be in that Free State team, especially since we got Maluti Apofung there and Mangaung as well. So that's also very, perhaps to me, more important than the opening of the House of Traditional Leaders, unless I'm allowed to go and come back and then rejoin the team the same day when I'm finished here.
Okay, Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you, Chairperson. Apologies, I don't know where the opening is for the traditional leaders, the House. If you can just let me know, then I can speak further on that.
Just say that again.
Where is the ceremony for the opening?
Somebody in the in National Assembly.
So it will be this side. Chairperson, I do need to caution that flights to Bloemfontein are not, I think there's one a day, which is before 5 o'clock in the evening. So if members wanted to join you, Chairperson, at the National Assembly to do that, I think yourselves might have to be excused from the meeting in Mangaung and Maluti Apofong. But just for traveling logistics, I know the nightmare it causes, and members won't be in time. They will only be able to travel Monday, Tuesday, the Wednesday, and I don't know how long this oversight will be. Thanks, Chair.
I don't know why you assume it's going to be me attending and not yourself, because you could well be the one who attends the opening and I attend the oversight visit. So you already made...
I don't own any dresses, unfortunately.
You don't own what?
Any dresses, unfortunately, Chairperson.
You're so prejudiced. Who says there's a problem? Anyway, honorable members, let's get a suggestion. We might need to split, get some to attend, and then come back and join the oversight, take into account the logistical issues. Can we leave it like that? Honorable members?
Yes,
Chair,
leave it like that.
Thank
Chair,
you. Yes, who's calling?
Damase.
Oh,
My
yes.
proposal would be that to excuse the chairperson on the day of the opening of the House of Traditional Leaders. Otherwise, as a principle that the committee be in the oversight. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Only the chair? Honorable Mapena?
Well, thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I was also going to suggest that if owing to logistical arrangements, I think it would be good for our chairperson to be part of the opening, but also obviously prioritizing the oversight of Mangaung and also Maluta Pufu. But also just to say that I can also volunteer to attend the opening because I'm not part of the oversight because I'm an alternate. If that's okay.
All right, Secretary, we're going to pick up a delegation. We'll prioritize the alternates to attend the opening, and maybe one or other member of the committee, maybe two, who can come in and then go back to the oversight committee meeting, oversight visit. So we will give you a proposed list and then try and finalize that way. Shirin, you're going to work with me on that so that we can close it at that. So they will attend both, but then we'll excuse other members who will go back and join the oversight process. What else is for discussion, Shirin? Just move on.
Thank you, Chairperson. The other thing is these days that on Tuesdays that the plenary starts at 10, which means that the committee won't really have time to meet on those Wednesdays. One of them is the 4th of March when we want to discuss with National Treasury the distribution of the disaster relief funding to provinces. So yes, there's that one. And then also on the 11th of March, we want to have an engagement with RAND water on water provisions in municipalities. It's those two actually also on the 18th. So 3 Tuesdays that the plenary starts at 10 o'clock. And then there's also Friday sittings. So we can't use the Fridays. So I'm not sure how we're going to do those ones. With the engagements on petitions, those ones in the past we did it virtually so that community members can also attend the meetings. So I'm not sure if we want to then look at alternate dates for the engagements on petitions and then have physical meetings on those days, because those are the dates where we can actually physically meet.
Okay, why don't we ask you to relook at it in mind with those issues in mind? The days when the session starts earlier, we might not be able to sit as a committee, so that we'll miss that. The days when the meeting is sitting on a Friday, we might miss that. And in between, what it means, we have to try and look at how we can use the Fridays, or if we're under pressure, we'll have to look at other evenings. Then we'll actually suggest to the members that that's the evening we would like to use, so we can prepare for everyone to be available. It might be easier if evenings are about virtual meetings, then it does not become too disruptive. But let's allow you to go and revise on the basis of this clash that we've just observed.
Thank you, Chair. I'll do that.
Rabuskachne, please comment.
Thank you, Chair. I totally agree with what you said. I just want to raise one concern. And normally, out of our experience, when a plenary starts at 10 o'clock, and I try to check on the program, unfortunately, not everything that's going to be dealt with on that 4th of March is on the program. But previously, when the meeting starts at 10 o'clock, normally those meetings are very long plenaries. So if we are going to move our meeting then to the evening, let us just make sure that that we don't have a clash, because it becomes very uncomfortable if there's a 3-line whip, or some of us still has to do statements of things in a plenary, and then we also have a committee. Yeah, I personally don't have a problem with meetings in the evenings as long as we don't have a clash. Thank you.
That's a good point. Let's just try and readjust. Obviously, things won't work out perfectly now, but it also means members must be flexible to take meetings even outside Tuesdays if we're under pressure. But with that, let's try and go and adjust again and see what we can do. I agree about long meetings. It's very difficult to hold a meeting after a whole day session. It's very exhausting. And we tried one before. We had to rush it quite a bit. And again, it didn't work out too well because members were very upset on the one side. We now just need to realize that we can't have everything. So we either compromise somewhere and on the other side, we're going to have to miss lots of meetings. And so either one of the two is going to be what we're going to be faced with. But that's fine. Let's note all of that and try and get to program to be readjusted. Anything else, Shirin?
Chairperson, no, that is it on the program. We just need to discuss this, the City of Joburg issue. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the issue of the City of Joburg. Now, colleagues, normally for us to discuss this issue, we needed to have enough time to read it and make notes on what corrections we need to make. We haven't had that time. So I'm going to ask you to read this report and make notes of what you need to be corrected, and we submit those to Shirin for consideration. And then when we come to adopt, as long as Shirin will make sure that those are highlighted so that if there are additions, they're highlighted to see whether members all agree on that. Secondly, we really haven't had time to discuss this report. There are a number of issues that need us to discuss and look through the whole oversight report. So we will just give ourselves a little bit of time this morning to look into this report. But I did originally understand we will not have enough time for it. The only reason why I thought we must bring it in is that in the report, you'll see somewhere in the actions, there was a request for information to come from JAC or whatever, I can't recall the art gallery, yeah, JAG, which was raised by Honorable Van Zyl about allowing oversight visits. And whilst that matter was tabled as something that we need a report about that particular visit, about the oversight visits, then in between, a delegation, I think from Democratic Alliance, went into the city and had a problem of not being accepted in the meeting. Now, then obviously, Honorable Van Zyl raised the issue with me to say, why are people not being allowed oversight? because they had undertaken, as the mayor undertook, that when people are coming for oversight, they'll be accepted. So I then asked the question to the mayor. The mayor responded briefly on that matter, but our issue was that we first needed a report from the city of Johannesburg on this Johannesburg Arts Gallery. We have asked for that report. We've still not received such a report. You'll see that item C on the report. Now, but when I asked him what was happening, then he shared two press media statements. The one was about a refurbishment that was going to be taking place in the municipality. Remember, there were accusations that there was so much damage, and it damaged very valuable artifacts and all of that. So I asked him what was the problem in this particular issue. He then says they actually tabled a budget of 50 million to do restoration. Now, this was in a press briefing. I've attached it and I've said the members can have a look at it. Then I asked him specifically, you had said you will not stop any oversight visits. Then he then sent me a statement that came from City of Johannesburg, where the members, where the City of Johannesburg was disagreeing with the members of the Democratic Alliance on the visit. According to that statement, there's a procedure of how you do visits, and there's a particular committee that you conduct, and that's the normal process of how you go into the municipality. On the one side, and then of course they argued that the delegation did not do that. I then said to the Honorable Van Zyl that we do need to get this report, and maybe we do need to talk about this issue, maybe not conclusively today, but we did undertake to talk about it a bit today, that there might be an issue between us where if the visit is allowed, what are the processes that we have to go through to accomplish such a visit? Is that the issue between the DA delegation and the municipality, or is it just that the municipality has actually blocked any oversight visit? It's a bit tricky now to understand what that is. So we would want to get concretely what is it that would have happened there and discuss it properly on the basis of the information. Having said that, I would say that the members might want to make comments around this. I don't believe we'll do an effective process of dealing with it, because I did hear many members have also received this thing. In fact, all members received this thing just either early this morning or maybe over or last night. But that means that we can't tie the members to a proper and thorough analysis and correction of the report before we can adopt it. So I'll allow the members to make comments. Honorable Van Zyl, Honorable Mabena, and any other comments around this report, understanding that we'll still stand it over for discussion at another time in the future. Thank you. Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just really briefly wanted to quote a couple of laws that we have in South Africa. And, government officials cannot arbitrarily prevent local government councillors from entering a municipal building or site to perform their oversight duties. There's legal basis for councillors' oversight rights. One is the Constitution, Section 1513, 1521, the Local Government Municipal Structures Act, Section 19.3, and then Local Government Municipal Systems Act also says that councillors are responsible for holding the executive to account by doing oversight. And the mere fact, I don't know if it's possible for Shireen to flight the letter dated on the 27th of January by the Mayor Morero, where in paragraph 2, it says, and I think you relate to that that there's a process that needs to happen. But Chairperson, it says in paragraph 2 that you must notify the MMC of the visit. That is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. We have the same oversight functions as parliamentarians. If we need to do unannounced oversights, why would you then notify the executive arm of that specific portfolio that you will come and do oversight? It is absolutely ridiculous. So this, to me, shows that there is something to hide. It was actually, in fact, the city manager that agreed to them having oversight rights upon our meeting with them that day. I think the mayor had left for something, but it was the city manager that said, yes, we will allow them to have oversight. So, Chairperson, and also when you look at the letter from the officials, you can see clearly that there's a bias from the city officials to the DA as a political party, because they mention it pertinently like that. Not even our own communication to the mayor regarding this, and it's also attached, does it speak to DA councillors. It talks about public representatives and their right to oversight. So I don't know why we are dilly-dallying about this. They are in the wrong. If any public representative, be it at local government sphere, at legislative sphere in the province, or at national, you don't have to notify the executive arm that you want to go and do oversight on their duties, on what they are supposed to be doing. So, Chairperson, I think we need to take a massive stance on this, and I think a stern warning needs to be sent. That this is not a cowboy situation where you can do as you please because you've got something to hide. There are laws in this country, and there's also administrative justice whereby these councillors can actually take these officials to court, because you cannot deny oversight to any councillor or public representative. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think it becomes problematic when it is only just directed at one political organization. At the end of the day, everyone, all of us who are in the legislature, were there based on a ticket of a political party. But if there's one overriding principle that is there, is that once we're in the legislature, we're public representatives. So therefore, in order for us to fulfill our oversight duties, it cannot be that when that oversight has to be fulfilled, then people are going to be using the party political card on individuals doing so. But also, even in the National Assembly, as us as members of Parliament, especially during the oversight week, we've got various programs where we do specifically unannounced visits. The reason being is that when we do unannounced visits, it's easy for public reps to see the true state of the actual infrastructure which is there on the ground. Where if there's litter there, you know that on the day no one is going to go and pick up that litter. But also, if now we start preventing members of legislatures from doing unannounced visits, it also speaks to a lack of accountability, where officials just believe that they can act with impunity, knowing that they won't be held responsible for the inefficiency. But also, it also erodes public trust, where citizens lose confidence in government institutions because there is no transparency or there are no checks and balances of the executive. But also, how do we assess policy failures, where we know that without oversight, ineffective policies may remain in place, leading to wasted resources and stagnation? It's just not right. And we have to make sure that we just put our foot down, that we have to, that this is the last of this thing happening. But also, we have to evaluate effectiveness. It helps us as members of the legislature to make sure that we keep the executive in check, whether government policies and programs are being properly implemented and are having a desired effect on the ground. And how do we do that? Part of the tool of doing that is specifically having an unannounced visits. There was an incident that we did an oversight in the Free State with regards to, in my other portfolio committee, which is transport, When we were there, west there, we had an announced visit. But throughout the entire visit, we had councillors who were not even in the executive accompanying us, explaining projects and making excuses for officials. And you could just see that this is a case of a tail wagging the dog, because they were obviously making excuses for projects that had failed. But so we need to encourage ethical conduct. And I think officials must know that us making unannounced visits, it is essentially to keep them on their toes, ensuring that they can be inspected at any time, which would foster them to do better work in line with ethical conduct. So this is just to ensure there is accountability. But I think we need to take on the executive mayor. I think if possible, we need to invite him to be part of the committee, even if it's virtual, where they can just give us that. But arbitrarily, municipalities cannot be making some sort of procedures which undermine the constitution. There is nowhere in the constitution where it says that a member of the legislature must seek approval from a member of the executive to do oversight over that member of the executive. I mean, it's nonsensical. It can't be done like that. And if we allow it to happen in Johannesburg, it's a flu that is going to spread across the country. And by the time that we are done, and by the time that we wake up to it, it's too late, where people just act with impunity and believe that they cannot be held accountable and believe that they are sort of like superior. There's no one that is superior here. We've got 3 arms of state, and the other one plays oversight over the executive. And that's just how it is. And even local government is formulated and formed in that manner. So my proposal, Chair, invite the executive mayor, give us a full report over and above the letter that they have sent. But we must also question them, say, like, what gives you the right to make procedures which are inconsistent with the constitution? Because now, if you say that I must ask for me to perform oversight of that same executive, it's inconsistent and it will never pass the constitutional muster. So I think that on its own is just a red flag for me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Telezi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kabazela. I just wanted to add my voice as well to say it will be a very, very sad day where now each and every oversight visit must be announced. One can live with the fact that maybe there's a preponderance of the ones where you want them because you want certain things. I mean, those will always be there because you need them to do some homework. But it's ridiculous to expect that every time we must warn them. I think it just really comes from this notion that some of these executives think that they don't realize that they exist at the behest of the communities and us and councillors and all that. So I just think that also the last point I wanted to make, which has been touched on by my colleague Honorable Mapena just now, is that we must have. I think that it is really does call for for him to be asked to appear and explain this, especially when it flies in the face of the of the Constitution. I mean, even now sections were quoted, but I think, Chair, we must be very firm about this as an oversight visit. We don't owe them anything to say we must always let them know when we are coming to visit. That will be really of our duty as oversight committees. So I would also support the proposal that he should be asked to come and make us understand which constitution he uses. Thank you.
Honorable Mteto.
Yes, no, I just wanted to quote chapter 7 of the local government in the constitution. There is an element that says that local government shall be autonomous in their function. It means then that whatever they do, they've got a jurisdictional right to do what they do because they are autonomous. They are given that mandate. And 2, the issue, we are named Cooperative Governance Portfolio Committee, which exactly speaks of the spirit of work togetherness. between the arms or amongst the arms of the state, the spheres and the tiers of the state. So which means one of us is claiming their jurisdictional right, but not autonomous, not over above another sphere or tier of government. So there has to be cooperation. Then in terms of unannounced visit, it depends on what you will find as an outcome. If you want to go there alone and probably check what is happening, then you don't need anyone to accompany you, but also access to some of the department. You need to have someone to open for you because there's authorization issues. The restraint of trade where you are not supposed to do as you please. You need to seek authorization to do certain things. So you cannot expect a junior to act ultra virus just because you are coming from another arm of the state and seeking entrance or access. Some of the accesses in statutory bodies and institutions are permitted, and that permission is based on protection, safety of the statutory assets that are there, even if we are coming from the state, but we must comply with issues of access. So that's where reporting is important. Otherwise, you will go there, you won't find anything. And in the case where you need certain information, it is incumbent upon that authority to grant that, but they can't grant in absentia or when they are not told that somebody is coming. It's courtesy of us as officials to also ensure that you don't want to ambush your counterpart, but you want to report that you're coming because your intentions are also open to scrutiny. It is for the good of the community. I'm just noting those factors.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, there are two issues which we have, and we have to find a way to deal with them. The first one is that we're discussing with on a matter based on a complaint. It was not really formally reported, but what happened is that the report comes from, I don't know what this is, whether this is Twitter or what. So I think there's going to be a little bit of amongst ourselves. Let's just first, what facts do we use to deal with this matter? Can we just deal with the issue on the basis of what was on the report, social media report? Because I think if we have to ask a question to anybody or raise the matter, we need to be a little bit more concrete about it in terms of what, let's put it this way. If a member had actually written and said there was this incident, and therefore we're dealing with it as a direct report, it makes it easier to pick the matter up. That's the first issue. That for me is occasioned by the fact that this one was a social media report, the other one was a media statement, and yes, I asked the mayor what has happened, but if we have to pick the issue up formally now, then I think we need something concrete and formal as to how we're going to take it. So the members must just advise on that. And the second one is, how do the members want us to deal with this? Do we wait for the report? And then when the report comes, we have to take the matter from there, or we have to take the matter up irrespective. And then do members want us to deal with? There's going to be a minister coming to see us in about a week or so on various matters. Do we want to raise the issue there with the minister, or do we want to raise it directly to the mayor? I would suggest if we have to raise the matter directly to the mayor, then it's better if we deal with a concrete report of this and this and this is what happened. And based on that, then you can raise the question. I'm a bit reluctant to write beyond this on a matter that I can only see on the words. I'm trying to understand it I don't understand social media language. So I'm not sure whether I can tell who did what here from that report. And I also looking at the statement from the members from the city of Johannesburg, I still don't understand what had happened so that they issue that statement. I see that they are complaining about the processes, the procedure, and so on and so on. Now, there can't be any restriction to particular members not to be able to do oversight. But I think the point that's raised by Honorable Mteto also needs to be taken into account so that we should deal with a formal process of how the oversight things are arranged. And I'll give you an awkward example on the side. We used to, when I worked in the province, there was always this challenge between public representatives and traditional leaders as to how did you get onto this area without informing Inkosi about it. So you would find that it was a different expectation in terms of the protocol of how that needs to be done. On the one side, I do take the point from members who are saying, but if you are going to be wanting to see how you're doing your work, why should we warn you about it? Because maybe we'll get more information without warning you. So how do we balance those two? That's the part I would like us to just try and guide each other on as we move on. So let me ask that the members just comment on that. Van Zyl, I see your hand is up.
Be quite an easy. So I think you are correct. Let's for the report, but I think we must also push for the report because that had been asked last year already from the mayor's office, and it's still not received 2 months later. So I think we need to push for that report as a matter of urgency. The second point I wanted to make is that we have state legal law advisors at our disposal. I think we need to get a legal opinion on this because the third point is that we cannot set a precedence of not being able to do oversight in any sphere of government by any sphere of government public representative. So I think when we asked for that legal opinion from our state law advisors, we must make it very clear that it is for every sphere of government. Because we cannot set a precedence, like the Honourable Buthelezi had said, where it's a cowboy state that you have to let them know and then quick cleaning will be done. Or if you are going to do oversight on a water treatment work, that all of a sudden it's clean up and it's all running smoothly. We cannot give warning if our job, our elected job, is to do oversight, to enforce accountability on the executive arm, but that you have to warn them, a fair warning. I don't think that's proper. So I think for those 3 points, I think we need to push for the report and we need to
Honorable Van Zyl, can members hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Chair.
Okay, because
Yeah, I can hear you, Chair.
Honorable Van Zyl disappeared, but my problem is that I'm running short on battery, so I wasn't sure whether it's my side or her side. So let's take note of the comments that Honorable Van Zyl has made. Push for the report, but for us to get a proper opinion, we need two things. We need a response from the specific account of what happened from the public representative. Then we need the one from the mayor. Then we can take those two with our comments for legal opinion. But in the meantime, let's get the next two members to comment. Mabena.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. But then what happens in the event where obviously the report, as we had asked for, is not forthcoming? Would it be problematic that from this committee we write to the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, because that's the legislature, and then we ask them to give us what happened, because the people that went to do oversight is people from the legislature, and the head of the legislature is the Speaker of that municipality. So essentially it means now that the executive prevented the boots on the ground of the speaker from conducting oversight over the executive. If that may deal with the issue of it not having a formal report that we can rely on, but also the fact that the executive mayor chair is responding to you and giving you justifications or excuses, so as it may, then it means that the issue actually did happen, but also the medium that it was reported on, and also perhaps maybe appreciating the fact that some of the things that make it onto the media, it means that these are issues that are topical, issues that are there, and we can always use that and say, this is what is being reported in the media. What is your response? But the fact that they are actively responding and releasing a media statement in that sense, then meaning that they're actively engaging with what emanated in the media. Because if the issue was not reported onto the media, then therefore they would see no need for them to respond. In the first place, they are responding to a media issue. So from that standpoint, and I think also there's precedent that we have also picked up issues in the committee through the media. We say, okay, there's this thing that is alleged to be happening. Can we get to the bottom of it? What is the actual true nature of facts around it? So I honestly don't see any difficulty that we can rely on media that we do that. But yeah, safe to say that we can push for the report, but seemingly they're withholding giving us the report. But in the event that they do engage the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, if that also fails, we just rely on the said media reports, quote it, and then ask them to account based on that. Thanks.
Look, when there's a matter of this nature and the public representative, I think we must have a proper account. We can rely on the public media, but I'm very reluctant because I've seen what it is. There's a 4-line thing that's really not adequate for us to make a proper case. So if there's a proper complaint, we can deal with it better. But nevertheless, let's take your comments. Let's take the last two members and move on from this issue. Honorable Mteto and then Honorable Telezi.
Yes, Chair. Exactly. You see, now the moment you engage the legalities on a matter that is not properly reported and informed, the law will require you to implement a audi alteram partem principle as well. And the moment you declare a dispute, then there will be a question that will be asked, did you perform your end of the bargain, and the other, did they perform their end of the bargain? In this case, we are talking jurisdictional matters. We are a national sphere engaging with a local sphere of government. So there's jurisdiction. If you don't report your intentions to that sphere, they've got authority to apply and evoke their rules that governs them outside your jurisdiction. They are not at your mercy by virtue of them being at a local sphere. They are protected by the Constitution. So then that's where the question you're asking, Chair, can we rely on what? That once you say you want to be legalistic, then you must demonstrate performance of your end of the bargain in writing, because lawyers deal with writing. What have you written? What has the other party written? If you didn't write, that story doesn't exist. So it's my word against your word.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable Butelezi.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair Kabazela. I just think on this matter, Chair and colleagues here, this matter of reports is not the first time I hear it. We're waiting for the report, whatever. I think this committee, it must really come to an end, because This committee here, when you request or you ask for it, you can even demand a report. We must put a date by which the report must come back, because then you start the countdown there. So really, this thing of just waiting, wringing our hands and anxiously, what the dragon is going to cough out, when it's going to cough out the report. I think that also, Chair, I really strongly say that, I mean, it's something we can do easily. We don't have to change anything. If we want to report, it also just helps us anyway, as a rule of thumb, that I mean, demand a report and put a date by which we want the report. Once that is overshot, we're already counting down, I mean, on your reaction there. So I think that in this case, that is what should happen. And on the point that we are raising, Chair, on the report, yes, I agree fully that we're going to set by which we want the report. We're not at the mercy of the executives. Then I think also, without now raising it as an issue, it is important to also table it when we meet the minister. When we meet the minister, to say this is, because then you must have precedent across the board. That is my contribution, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we should take the proposal that we want to ask for the report, set timelines by which we need the report. However, that report may not have this aspect of the complaint because it was about the art gallery. So I would then also ask that we should then be asking for some formal indication of what really happened there. Then we can then ask the mayor to directly address how they've dealt with this matter and so on. It occurs to me that if there's a procedure of how they're supposed to do the oversight visits and it's members of the same